I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Moon, Deep Space.
Hello and welcome to your Cancer New Moon Great Mother Speaks reading in your Vedic moon sign. You want to check the links below to see what that is for you. It is 24 degrees in precession to the Western tropical moon sign. This new moon is in the nakshatra of Purnavasu. It's a feeling of having completed a cycle, a phase of life that was very active, and now having to fill what is now an empty space with something that has meaning for you moving forward. And wouldn't this new moon be conjunct Venus, a very communicative type of energy in terms of Great Mother energy, this emotional, intuitive space, opening it up to positive reception, as well as Mercury turning direct on this day. Between now and the full moon, Jupiter will be going direct as well, and so amplifying what is occurring the first 2 weeks of this lunar cycle. This reading does cover the entire lunar cycle in terms of the projection of what we will be seeding now. There are suggested new moon wishes at the end of the reading based on your Western moon sign, but don't worry about that here. The new moon in tropical astrology is in Leo, and so we make our wishes based on Western astrology, the energy of Leo. That's all we need to know, because we are aligning our own ego desires with the intention of the soul, which is what Great Mother Speaks readings are for. Specifically, those who are surviving mama drama trauma. Visit mamadramatrauma.info for more information. It is a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. In cases where she is unable, unwilling, or unavailable, she may have transitioned from doing her own healing work because MDT is a cycle. Loving detachment is required in order for the child to live a healthy, happy, and whole life. That's the inner work life coaching I specialize in, and what these readings are designed to do in terms of supporting my clients in their inner work. But they are open to the public if anyone happens to come by. So you're welcome if you are here. And again, check us out at greatmotherspeaks.info for more coaching information, and mamadramatrauma.info for the blog and support groups. Now, speaking of conjunctions, Mercury is conjunct the North Node in Gemini this new moon, giving us again a huge communicative space for expansion going into this new energy set up by Purnavasu. Your lunar yogas are very important because they set up how we download information. So our yogas are our 12th lunar house, our first lunar house, which is our moon sign, and our second. So for example, if your moon sign is Virgo, your 12th lunar house is Leo. And so you download intuitively like a Leo. You feel the emotion like a Virgo and process the information like a Libra. So you want to keep that in mind with these readings for each sign, because although we may share a moon sign and we may share the yogas, there can be shifting, of course, with our own unique configuration and aspects in our birth charts. Now, as you may know, the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is being revised. It's almost completed, and so a card or two may be thrown in this reading. There will at least be one to clarify your Cancer new moon reading. So, your new moon wishes. The rules for those as set out over millennia, we've learned that they are most effective if we focus on 10 or less. Those suggested to you may number more than 10 or less. The category for Leo energy is creativity, determination, dignity, fun, celebration, curtailing of arrogance, okay? Asking for support in those areas is what Leo energy is all about. And so you can manage that this new moon up until the end of the phase, which is about 2.5 days. So with no further ado, these are your Cancer new moon readings. Gemini moon sign people, your new moon was a solar eclipse that rocked your world. You now arrive at the Cancer new moon in your second lunar house with a great deal of insight, wisdom, a lot of real kind of blessings around you as a result of the wave you've been riding, and your ruling planet Mercury being in your first house, your first lunar house at this time in Gemini, as well as Rahu, is giving you a real sense of your dark side and an appreciation of it. We see Inanna, embrace the shadow card, as the soul work position card for this lunar cycle. It is a crescent moon third eye card. It is when Dorothy confronts Oz and says, "You are a bad man," after they've brought the broom back and realize he is just a man. He replies and says, "I'm not a bad man. I'm just a bad wizard." You've come to that realization, Gemini moon sign people, that you are feeling yourself, all of yourself, and having no regrets. You are feeling your divinity. You know, we are a divine child of the great Mother, Father, God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone. You do not need to be convinced of that. You've been through enough to realize, hey, that's exactly who I am. If anything, I need to reel it in, which is what Ishtar, the prostitute full moon second chakra card, is saying here, with Dorothy returning to the farm after her initial runoff to Professor Marvel's camp. She's guilted back home. And so what's bringing up this sense of embracing your shadow for you is a sense of owning your truth, staying on your path. So the full moon light of illumination that you've had from your new moon to the lunar eclipse, the full moon that just passed, is at this particular time being able to articulate your truth, your desires, that second chakra, being able to word things at this particular way in not only beautiful ways, but your voice may even be very melodious with this second house energy activated with Cancer. You may actually be able to soothe people with your voice and have even more than a usual handle on vocabulary, communicating with people, that sort of thing. And as a result, there may be some additional material gain you are receiving in your life because people are appreciating it or asking you to write a blog or asking you to speak somewhere, or whatever you're doing. It is showing up as blessings by embracing the shadow. You have a much more balanced sense of communication because you're owning yourself, which is your true divinity identity. In your shadow position is that you're able to do this, Gemini, because the Christ consciousness is guiding you. The law of soul guidance and guardianship is the Jesus card. It is the Yin third quarter moon card of release and letting go. And we know to heal MDT, we must grieve the mother we want in order to accept the one that we have. You may not realize that is exactly what you've been doing and why you've been able to embrace your shadow. You have been embracing that divinity identity, which Big Brother Jesus demonstrated to us in his lifetime here. This heart chakra energy in your shadow position is also an indication that this opening up of your heart has given you such insight that again, people may actually be asking you to communicate at social events. If not, they have no problem with you being the center of attention at social events. Your intellect is valued at this time. If you're an artist, your artistic talents are being appreciated. You're getting more hits on your website for your jewelry or your garden in your front yard. But particularly, again, this kind of verbal fifth chakra kind of communication, of course, with Gemini. There's an affluence that you have in your interior space that is, in other words, being replicated in your outer space by accepting you are not judged and you are not condemned. You are not left alone. The law of soul guidance and guardianship. This is creating a desire in you, perhaps at this particular time, indicated by the Adi Shakti card, primordial mother, second chakra, again, desirous energy we have in the waning gibbous to realize you don't need to try so hard anymore. You don't feel that. You do feel that you are attracting people and opportunities. And this could actually be creating kind of an egotistical kind of thing because the Twister Dream card here, Adi Shakti, is right after Dorothy returns with the Ishtar card, which is kind of her selling herself out from her journey. The opposite for you is happening for most of you. You are standing in your path. And as a result, there may be, as Dorothy, she was going to go and heal that MDT with Aunt M, even though she wasn't ready. She hadn't healed herself yet. She was going to come home and make that happen. And Aunt M ended up going down in the cellar to get out of that twister that Great Mother kicked up in order for Dorothy to continue on her path. And so there may be a little push that is unnecessary. It's not you. The energies are creating this unction within you, this perception of you in the world. Your face may even be glowing. You may recognize this in the mirror, and this is making you feel really good. You're feeling your divinity, and this is attracting also the opposite sex. Okay, perhaps some sensual opportunities. The symbolism of the Twister Dream is also this sleep and being taken over by the interior space, which for us also includes that sensuousness, how we connect with other souls in intimate ways. This is part of embracing the shadow that you're doing at this particular time. And what's supporting you in doing this is the Isis full moon card, root chakra, self-mothering, giving yourself that own sense of security, that own sense of safety that is authentic to you. This is what may be causing some challenges with Rahu and Mercury in your first house. There may be, as a result of this great attractive being that you are at this time, a desire to take shortcuts and not see things through. And so don't forget that since that lunar eclipse and solar eclipse in your new moon, Gemini, that you've been taught the importance of taking care of yourself, which is why you can shine now. And so don't forgo the lessons that you've learned about how to get into your divinity space. And this is Great Mother coming through with suggestions about how to maintain it, because entitlement is not going to serve you. Entitlement of our divinity identity doesn't serve us, which is why we have to go on the yellow brick road journey. If Dorothy had have asked or had have rather clicked her heels 3 times as soon as she got the ruby red slippers in Munchkin Land, she would not have had the journey that she needed in order to grow in self-love and spiritual independence. And so we are on that journey for a lifetime with Mama Drama Trauma, even living MDT free as I've been. We are still triggered. It's just that we don't go into tailspins. We're able to recover a lot quicker because of our practice. And root chakra Isis card is the practice of self-mothering. This is what's supporting you to be in and to stay in this space. So that sensual attraction that you may be feeling could be creating an overactive libido, for example, reawakening some things that may not serve your self-care. If it does, it does. But Great Mother is saying, be aware of that, because Isis is supporting you to shine that full moon light of security and safety. So we don't want to work cross purposes or against ourselves in this process. As much as we can, work with the supportive energies. Your present state of ego soul alignment, Gemini moon sign people, is the Newt card, another root chakra. This is the new moon card of the orphan. So right now you are in a space where you have recognized that the abandonment, the abuse, the neglect, the rejection is no longer something that you're calling a healthy relationship. And as far as a birth mother relationship is concerned, you're not happy, you're not healthy, and you're not whole. And so being orphaned from that birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, you have embraced your divinity identity as a dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father, God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone. So we grieve the MDT identity of shame, blame, and guilt that doesn't allow us to be happy, healthy, and whole in order to embrace our divinity identity. And that's what you're being rerouted in, regrounded in at this particular time. And so remember that. This is new moon energy, Newt is. And this new moon root chakra is ruled by Saturn, which rules Capricorn and Aquarius in the Vedic. And for you, when we're talking about Capricorn, we're talking about 8th house energy of transformation and 9th house energy of spirituality. And so this is but a transformation from MDT identity to divinity identity that is allowing you to recognize that there's a sense of orphanhood with regard to your birth mother, but you are connecting to the mother of all mothers. Why your soul wants to do this work and embracing this shadow is because there are some doubts that emerge from time to time, which is what Jupiter in your 6th house has been working with you on, Gemini moon sign people, since it entered Scorpio, the 6th lunar house from Gemini, which makes this placement likely to create, if you haven't experienced it already, maybe now, some stomach sensitivity issues, having to deal with the stomach lining, maybe ulcers or just, acid reflux. Those kinds of things are reflective of this self-doubt. Rihanna, 1st quarter moon, 2nd chakra, a lot of 2nd chakra, root chakra cards here. And this is indicative of rebirth, of the start of the Kundalini. But with the center card being Anana, crescent moon, 3rd eye, planting of a new seed through the higher mind, through the soul, is being done by you aligning it through your actual material life, your actions, your karma. And this is creating some acid reflux. There is a challenge stomaching aspects of this process or satisfying your ambitions that you have. How are you going to use this light, this lunar cycle, Gemini, is what Great Mother is asking you. How are you going to use it to self-mother in ways that continue to allow you to embrace your shadow, whatever it continues to reveal? Our shadow comprises things that we do not want to admit or look at about ourselves or want others to know about us. And most of us stay in MDT denial because we don't want to go through the admission, the acknowledgement, which is the A and the aspire. We aspire to live in loving detachment from MDT. And it's an aspiration until we work through the A, the S, the R, the I, the E. And the A is acknowledge of the 6 suits of the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, which is the root chakra. And so we have to be reborn through our acknowledgement of MDT. And then the second chakra, this Rhiannon card, is under S for self-inquiry. So ask yourself, when you're doubting yourself, what is it that I want to create? And that's what the second chakra full moon card Ishtar evolves to from this first quarter moon, the prostitute of standing your ground, which is what you're doing with your shadow. But there may be some insecurities about that, especially again with looking at satisfying your ambitions through standing your ground. Now that you've gotten to this place of embracing your divinity, the question is, what are you going to use it for? What are you using your divinity for? There may have been since November as well problems with your marriage, your life partner. If not problems, it's just being kind of dull and stale maybe. You may feel that way this month a little bit. And so with all of this kind of sensuous energy going on, maybe there being some, finding that connection with others, creating some challenges, maybe some extra expenditures. When we, kind of go outside of our normal day-to-day activities, shall we say, we can incur some expenses. And so no tea, no shade, no judgment or condemnation, except from you. You're embracing your shadow and looking at it squarely and saying, okay, is this serving me? Is this really what I need to feel self-mothered? Or is it not serving me? Is this taking away from my sense of safety and security? Because there could be this power in this area is so strong, some sexually transmitted diseases. And so the self-doubt could have to do with, getting back in touch with really what the self-mothering is about in relationship to your spouse or your partner, and embracing the shadow to use this influential energy in a way that focuses it lovingly on that. But, for most of you, this isn't like a scandal or anything. People aren't talking about it because you do have such a positive aura. You have secured some sense of social respect and status with regard to others, that even if other people know that there are problems going on with regard to this expansion of your desirability, it's not creating a problem because you are not in denial. When we're in denial about something, it keeps on showing up. And that's why we get so mad. Because we want to stay in denial, but it keeps on showing up. And so that's not what's happening for you at this time, which is why Great Mother wanted to bring it to your awareness, perhaps for some of you, that this is something that even though it's not coming to your awareness externally, on an internal level, some of those ambiguous feelings you may be having are as a result of this self-doubt as you are shining your light. And so that's the yin and the yang of it. How your soul wants to balance these energies is with integrity, the eye of Aspire. It rules the heart chakra in the deck, and all Aspire cards or balsamic moon cards, that's the download period. Downloading from the soul, you do that through the sign of Taurus. Your moon yoga is Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. So this is a powerful new moon for you in terms of processing. So if you don't normally have those stomach issues, you may have them now because you are processing this shadow and self-doubt about remaining self-loving. But what's going to support you in remaining self-loving is the self-mothering, which is why the attention that you're getting right now that could serve any number of desires, if you align it with the desire to stay in acknowledgement of MDT and living in loving detachment and your truth, integrity, it's going to render you a greater truth by the end of the cycle. And dare I say, some of you already have that awareness now, and this reading is a confirmation based on the outcome card, Maya. This is the Cancer new moon card. Cancer is ruled by the moon, which rules the third eye. Illusion is the scene of the movie in which Toto pulls back the curtain to reveal that Oz is just a man. Many of you have already pulled back that curtain, which is why you are embracing your shadow, standing your ground, and despite it not being very clear that you are being guided through your divinity identity by your angels, your guides, your ancestors, the Christ consciousness, your desire of just allowing what needs to come to you, and that being enough is being fulfilled. That Adi Shakti primordial mother energy downloaded Dorothy several dreams in the Twister dream, and these types of things we go over in our MDT support group, which you are welcome to join at mamadramatrauma.info. These weekly groups review typical, normal, everyday events that happen with us experiencing MDT. And we get tools and guidance about how to resolve those issues and live in loving detachment. Own our divinity identity, which is what you are showing you are doing with such grace under challenges this month. This is an ego-soul alignment setup perfect for a Cancer new moon wish, as Cancer is your processing yoga in the Vedic astrology, processing how you feel about embracing your shadow. The clarification card for this reading is the revised Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck card of Pele, awakening. All right. So you are awakening with this crescent moon gut chakra card about that gut chakra, that stomach chakra. And so you heal this imbalance in your stomach by continuing to embrace your shadow and the truth of who you are. Am I the child of a birth mother who has a soul contract with me to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence, full of shame, blame, and guilt? Or because our contract is to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence, that makes me a divine child of the great Mother, Father, God, who is never judged, condemned, or left alone? This is the awakening Pele, the Mauian goddess, calls us to. This is the truth, the inconvenient truth for some, that she calls us to in our awakening eruption. Okay, new moon wishes for Leo in the tropical astrology. Assist the ego in aligning with this awakening to the shadow and the illusion that it has for us to remain in MDT identity. We get our new moon suggestions from Jan Spiller's New Moon Astrology book. And for you, Gemini, based on this great light around you, creativity is a wonderful aspect of Gemini, having to do with enthusiasm, creative projects, artistic expression, total subjective involvement, self-actualization, and passion. These may be some wishes your ego desires to plant this new moon on the 31st or the 2.5 days of this new moon phase. I want to easily find myself beginning each day with a feeling of enthusiasm. I want to be filled with creative new ideas relative to fill in the blank. I want to easily find myself expressing my creativity for its own sake without an eye for the results. I want to easily find myself choosing projects that cause my creativity to flow freely and that bring me joy. I want to easily find myself allowing my natural enthusiasm to shine forth. I want to easily find myself actively following the path that is dictated by my own sense of inner joy and happiness. I want the tendency to sabotage the successful fulfillment of my heart's desires easily lifted from me. I want to easily find myself involved in activities that evoke my passion and vital interest. The heart being ruled by Leo, the lion. Vitality, our vital signs, that heart pumping, that life. And this life that you have to live this lunar cycle is an abundantly beautiful one. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking Gemini moon sign people. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami, Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother.
Great Mother speaks to us in